Hi, and welcome to Transparent with Tina. I'm Tina Marx, your host. Today's guest is truly magical. You know, the kind of person that the minute you're in their space, you just feel like better, you feel calm, you feel like that they're radiating a certain energy, just like a really high frequency energy. Well, that's my guest today. He is an author, a speaker, and a life coach. He has life coached celebrities such as Robert Downey Jr., Kanye West, Kristen Slater, Natalie Cole, Diane Cannon, Charlie Sheen, Quincy Jones, Berry Gordy, Lee Iacocca, and so many more. In 2015, he was interviewed by Oprah for her show Super Soul Sunday, which was amazing. I actually remember watching that show, and he's written 10 books. Today, we're going to be talking to him about his latest book, The Miracle Mentality. Up next, Tim Storey. Welcome, Tim Storey. Such an honor to have you here today. I can't tell you. I mean, I got to be honest with you because it's called Transparent with Tina. I've done a lot of interviews, but I'm probably the most nervous doing this one, and I think because it connects so deeply with me and everything that I'm about. So, I was doing some meditation before you came on and going, he's just a person, and we know he's just a person. And, I don't get starstruck. That's just not me. I mean, I was raised around, my family's in the music business. My mom was, in the entertainment business. But anyway, welcome.
All that means not a lot, but you notice how down to earth I am, right? See how we just connect?
Absolutely. And you know what? When I was meditating, it came back to me. God said, he's going to be amazing with you.
Yeah, because I like your vibe already. So I connect to who you are.
Yeah.
So let's help some people today. That's what I want to do. Let's help some people.
Absolutely. Okay. So first thing, I want to go in a little bit of your backstory. I know that you started believing in God and Jesus around 4 years old.
Yes.
Can you, that was your first connection with him. Can you tell us what that was all about?
Yeah. So what happened in our family is that we were raised in Compton, California, which is a great place to be out of. Dr. Dre's out of there, the Williams sisters, Kendrick Lamar. And so, but in our family, we were lower income and we were struggling. My dad had a 10th grade education, mother 6th grade education. Dad worked at a steel place, Bethlehem Steel. Mother worked at Winchell's Donut Shop. And we got introduced to faith through a lady at my mother's job. And she told us about this church, and we were the only people of color that went to this all-white church. And that's how we started when I was only 4 years of age. Yes, that's what happened.
So that's when you were introduced. But when did you feel that connection? When did you feel is that when you felt it? I mean, is that when you felt that in your heart, or you were introduced to it? But at what point did it really resonate with you?
I learned fast. At 5 or 6, I connected to the Bible stories.
Okay.
And people like Noah built an ark, David, fought Goliath. So when my Sunday school teachers were telling me these stories, I was buying into them. So I would say that I was beginning to learn about this vast God, this awesome God, this big God, but I bought into it early. Yeah.
Okay. And then you lost your dad.
At 10 years of age.
At 10 years, and you lost your sister when you were 13.
Yeah, and I call those life interruptions because, we already had it tough enough. And my dad was starting to really move our family up. And it wasn't just to come out of a certain neighborhood, but we were just starting to get in better schools and better neighborhoods. And unfortunately, he was going through a green light, going to get my mother food at a restaurant. This is before Uber Eats and all that stuff. where people deliver. He's going through a green light, minding his own business. A man runs a red light, hits him, and my father dies. So that was huge to our family because we did not know how to get up from a setback. So when that life interruption hit, I felt like my family all went different ways.
Yes.
Look,
and I had the same experience when my brother died at 9 years old. So did you feel like, were you angry at God? Did you feel like,
no,
it was so
no, I think it was just, it was a terrible thing. And I felt that, number one, it was a policeman that did it, and bless his heart, he later came and apologized and, was very sorrowful. He did not have his lights on, nothing, just was daydreaming, and that's what happened. So I was never mad at anybody, not the fireman, not the policeman, not anybody. It was just a terrible thing to see my family go boom. And I say that because a lot of people know what that's like to have that happen.
Yeah.
And then to hear my mother cry for the first time. I'd never heard my mother cry because she's so strong. So that was a very painful time, but I did not really show it, but it was painful.
Do you know what's interesting? My mom always said everything happens for a reason. And when my brother was killed when I was 9 years old, and she was crying day after day, and I said, Mom, if everything happens for a reason, why are you crying? She didn't miss a beat, and she said, because I miss him. That's how strong her faith was. And that's where really it started with me, and that's where my journey began. So did this lead, how did you find your purpose in helping people? Was that a pivotal point? Or what was the pivotal point?
It was definitely a pivotal point. Yeah, I think my father passing 2 years later, my sister Viola, very unusual name, beautiful young lady. Her friend was driving, and another girl was in the front seat. My sister was in the back seat. They were going up towards San Francisco on vacation. She's only 20 years of age. She's pretty. She's happy. And the friend got lost in the fog and went off a little cliff. My sister went into a coma for 8 days and passed away. Wow, 2 years later, that was like too much. So it was like a bam, bam. So you talk about split, now it's really like gone in our family. So I think things like that, instead of making me a person that was bitter, I really just started to have more of compassion, empathy for hurting people, the underdog. But I think part of it is innate and in my personality is that I have a lot of joy, I have a lot of peace anyway, I have a lot of faith anyway. So I was pretty resilient even as a young guy.
So when you say innate, because that was a later question, but when you say innate, because my tendency is to believe that we are conditioned that way from our parents. In your book, you talk about, when you come into this earth and, we're all joy filled and everything else. And I talk about that in my first book too. I call it the natural state and you call it the magic mentality. And so
yeah,
I think that's a place that we're all trying to get back to. Correct?
Yes. Okay. Right.
So like any child, you ask them what they want to do. They know exactly what they want to do. They're filled with joy. They're filled with laughter, everything else. So this is really the point of your now 10th book, right? Your 10th book.
Yes.
The Miracle Mentality.
Yes. And thanks for doing that kind of research. So let me just say this.
I've been listening to you for 3 days in a row. I'm almost done with your book.
Thank you. So let's just say this. Psychologists have found, and some of the really smart ones around the world, that it is in kids' spirit to be people who imagine, think miraculous and magical thoughts. That's why you ask a kid, what do you want to be when you get older? When they're real little, an astronaut, a little girl, a princess. They never talk about failure.
Never.
And I tease about this, that a little boy plays with Spider-Man, Superman, Iron Man, never loser man. So they don't really have that in their mind. What happens, somebody puts that in their mind. They are thinking they can go into any toy store and the parents can buy anything. The limitation is learned behavior.
Absolutely.
It's a fact, like you're saying, it's learned behavior.
Yes.
And so what I believe is that, as I write in my book, Miracle Mentality, is that we can unlearn what we learned. Just like a teacher, like sixth grade, watch, and she just takes the chalkboard and she erases. Because now she's maybe getting to talk on a whole new topic. She erases. I erased my chalkboard. I have so filled myself with a miracle mentality, you can't get it out of me.
Yeah, right. And it's everything is a learned behavior, right? Either destructive behaviors or things that move you forward, right? And so
Yes.
in the miracle mentality, you talk about the four states: mundane, messy, madness, and then magical.
Yes.
And you said to get out of the mundane, you need to do observation, conversation, and education. Let's go into that a little bit. So that's
okay. So
mundane.
Yeah. So the mundane is part of life. The mundane is throwing the trash. The mundane is doing the dishes. The mundane is going to the DMV. I don't want to go to the DMV. That's mundane. That's the normal status quo regular. But I believe you can master the mundane. So you can master the mundane to where it's not like, oh, I have to, oh, it's Hump Wednesday. I don't act like that. So you can master your mundane, but you better deal with your messy. Because messy is going to knock at your door at least once a week. It's going to come in calls that we don't want. It's going to come in situations. It's going to come in COVID-19. It's going to come in family problems. Messy is going to knock at your door at least once a week. Now, the messy is the disheveled. Now, after life coaching people for over 30 years, that's where people get stuck. They don't know how to handle the messy.
Would you say the messy is anything that comes in your way that you didn't plan for?
The messy are things you didn't plan for, but it's also things that you were doing that you didn't think were going to become messy. So let's say like you have a job, mm-hmm. and all of a sudden you start to have problems with people at the job because for a minute, my job's magical. Oh my God, everybody loves me. Now you got some problems at the job. So the magical became messy.
Yes.
So sometimes it's the unplanned, but sometimes it's you're just going in your magical life and messy knocks on your door. So now, but we're going to go deeper, as you just said, mundane, messy, okay, madness.
The destructive behaviors come in.
Exactly. The madness is where a lot of people are in COVID-19. Because here's what they said. Okay, it came heavily in March of last year. Now, if you want to, now COVID-19 and wearing the mask, if you want to go from March to the end of April, I can handle you. But when it went into May, June, July, August, September, October, that's when all the Karen videos came out like never before. That's when people are beating up each other at Kmart. Okay. People went into madness. They're not equipped. They're not equipped to handle these kind of storms.
Exactly. You know, I'm a coach too. I'm a business coach, a life coach.
And a good one.
Oh,
I've studied you. You're very good and people love you.
Thank you. And you know what, Tim, I think we're on the same page. I say to my clients, if you want to move forward, you have to be uncomfortable every day.
Yes.
A little bit every day. And you know what? It sounds like such a daunting task, but you know what? I've also said that, you know what, if you're not moving forward, you're actually, by the laws of physics, You're moving backwards. You're not staying the same. You're actually moving backwards because, you know, everything is in motion. So the mundane, which I think a lot of people, right, for example, for me right now, so to get out of the mundane, okay, I feel like I'm working all the time, and you know, to get simple pleasures out of let's say housework. People would say, how are you going to get simple pleasures out of housework? What would you say to that? How am I going to get pleasure and joy out of the mundane?
I know.
That's all I have all day.
I have to do the mundane. So let me give you an example.
Okay.
So I had the privilege of signing 390 books the other day. People don't realize how long that takes if you do it right.
Yeah.
So a lot of authors would be like this.
Right.
Watch, I'm an actor. No, I have an old-fashioned recorder, you know, that plays like records. There's this thing, kids, called records, like a record player.
The vinyl, that's what your hobby is.
The vinyl.
Yeah.
So I was playing all kinds of stuff. Started with Stevie Wonder. So I'm like playing Stevie Wonder, and I'm like, what? Come on, people. In the midst of the mundane, I love it.
Yeah.
At the car wash, I'm listening to podcasts. If I'm doing like mundane chores, if I have to go wait somewhere in line, I'm thinking creative thoughts. I'm always gone in some creative zone.
Yeah.
So listen, we could put magical on our mundane at any time.
Absolutely. And that's one thing right there, just right there. I know that works for me all the time. So I put on music. If I'm going to do chores, I put the music on, or I put an inspirational podcast on. It immediately lifts me up. So I think, you know, the silence is where my head can run, and especially being a little bit ADD. So the messy and the madness. Okay. So we talked about the mundane and to get out of that, you were talking about observation, conversation, and education. So let's talk
about that. Yeah. Okay. So if somebody is caught up in a mundane life, so like, okay, here we are, we've been married for like 3 years and the magic is starting to wane. Okay. So what do you do? So 3 primary ways we learn and get better. Number 1, as you know, education. So the beauty of this world is if you want to learn a language right now, you can. I read an article the other day of a lady who started playing piano at age 72 and became super amazing by age 74. So you can master a language, you can play piano starting at 72, you can start writing books. So you can educate yourself. So educate will elevate.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So education, watch how cool this is. Conversation. That's why I said to you at the beginning of this podcast that me and you are going to have a conversation, because you are not just a good coach, you're phenomenal at what you do. So we are sharpening people together. This is a conversation. Yes. I believe that sometimes we're one conversation away from a breakthrough. Whoa, how good is this? See, someone's going to hear this conversation today and they're going to go, whoa, that was it.
Yeah, that was it. That's all. Okay. I'm like,
hey, get emotional.
Yeah, I am.
Get emotional. You should get emotional.
I am getting
because we're on fire. But I'm not done. Education, conversation, observation. Can I tell you about this?
Yes.
So I got another sister. I got 2 more sisters. Viola passes. Then I got 2 more sisters. One of them, when she was younger, became a model. She did quite well in modeling for many, many years. So as a young model, she was probably 21 at the age. She was dating a guy who was about 33. So this guy comes to get her at my mother's house. She did not live at my mother's house. She lived in Newport Beach, but she was at my mother's house. This guy comes to pick her up in this big bomber black Mercedes Benz. Now, I'd never been in one. So he liked me. He goes, hey, Tim, you want to go to lunch with us? And I go, well, let me ask my sister, because I've always been very proper. And she goes, no, we want you to go. I said, okay, I'll go. I'll never forget. He opened the door for her. And then he said to me, wait. So she gets in. And then he opens the door for me. Observation. I said, whoa, this guy's got a little something to him. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then he gets in the car and he's playing classical music. I never seen this in my life. So he's just driving, playing classical music, having like an adult conversation. And then when we get out, he says, hold on. He wasn't trying to just impress her. This is how he was. I asked her probably 2 months ago, was he always like that? She said, he always was. He opens the front door, then he opens the back door. And then I'll never forget, he said, I'll close it, Timmy. He called me Timmy. And he closed the door and it went like this. Pa-pum, pa-pum, watch.
I heard that in an interview. Yeah.
So then I said, someday I'm going to get a car that goes what? That does what? Pa-pum.
Exactly. It's like that
observation.
Soft close. Yeah, exactly.
Observation, because all our cars went eek, eek. And guess what? All my cars go boom. Thank you very much.
Right. Exactly. So let's I don't really how did you find your purpose? How did you know that this was your calling, Tim?
Okay, so Lee Iacocca, I'm sitting in Brentwood. Lee Iacocca endorsed my last 2 books. He's now in heaven. Mr. Lee Iacocca, truly the Richard Branson of his day. He said, I ask all great men, what's your secret? And I said, I'm a God-made man. I'm a God-made man. I'm a God-made man. I'm just a servant. That's what I am.
Yes.
I'm a servant of the Most High God, and I just do assignments. I work in the rehab world. I help prison reform. I help with the homeless. I help with the elderly. I'm a servant. The fact that I became life coach to the stars and get to help all these celebrities, hello, that's just another assignment. That's no more grand than the other things. So I am a God-made man. So the Bible says, Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10, you are a work of art created in Christ Jesus to do good works that God planned in advance. That's why you see when Oprah says those famous words to me, she says, so you're telling me we have all been spoken over, when she's interviewing me. And I said, yes. And she starts to get emotional. We've all been spoken over. So God has spoken over every one of our lives. You and I are just simply cooperating with what he said.
Yeah, I'm getting a little emotional myself. And you know why? Because I know I believe that. I truly, truly believe that. But so, you know, we understand that a lot of the conditions in our life were because of our childhood. Okay. So mine, I've been very transparent. It's like I was never, ever good enough for my father.
Yeah.
So, you know, that creeps back in. I've fought and I've gotten to where I am. But it's always like, I achieve that, then it's what's next? What's next? I never give myself the reprieve or the pat on the back of it's always what's on in the next. And then, you know, the other day I did stop myself and I said, you know, look at a year ago, the benchmark. I think that's very helpful when you're somebody like me to do that. But I, you know, because you already had that instilled in your heart. And I think everybody did. So I'm going to ask this. Do you think anybody can have the miracle mentality if they don't believe in God?
I do believe they can have a dimension of it.
Yeah. I
think what's going to happen, as John Maxwell says, there's going to be the law of the lid, which is, and the Tim Storey version is your ceiling is too low. Is that I believe what's happened to people is that they have settled for a limited ceiling by thinking that, oh my God, I meditated and I saw. The Bible says, for God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that I ask or imagine. Holy schmoly, guacamole. If he created the heavens and the earth,
Totally.
how powerful is this?
Do you ever have days where you question yourself? You question your abilities?
I love those days. So the thing about a guy like me is that I'm being pulled on at all times.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I order food, listen, I'm not Brad Pitt and I'm not Michael Jordan, but for some reason, people know my face. So I opened the door the other day and the guy's bringing me my food because I ordered food, he's bringing it. And he gets, oh, I said, what happened? He goes, it's you. And so he gets all emotional. Okay. So then he wants to talk to him about his problems. Then a week ago, I hear all this noise outside. So I go outside to look, and a guy is putting a car on his thing. It's Auto Club. So I say to the Auto Club guy, I said, are you towing him because he did something? And the guy goes, what the? He goes, Tim Storey. I go, yeah, how you doing? I go, so what happened? He goes, no. Something's wrong with his car. He called us. He goes, but whoa, come here, get over here. Okay, so I'm being pulled on all the time. I'm a human being.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm supposed to sleep like 7 hours, but I sleep 3 just because I just woke up. So I'm human. I'm more than 40 now. Sometimes my body aches. Sometimes I wake up and I go like,
yeah,
I'm human.
And you're younger than me. And
yes.
By the way, we're both Scorpios.
You look fantastic. My goodness. Whatever you're doing, keep it up. So here's what I do. Wherever I am unable, he is able and he enables me.
Okay.
I'm a God man.
So how do you get back to that place? Because you know what? Most of the time I'm there, Tim. Okay. But
yes.
then, for example, one thing that comes up for me is the competition.
Yes.
You know, when I wrote my first book, I was journaling. I didn't think I was writing a book. And it took me 8 years to write the book because I would start writing and then the part of my mind would say, who are you to write a book? You didn't graduate from college. You don't have a degree. I'd put the book down. The little whisper, of course, God, that's what kept me going with the book. And I'm not going to, it's not as far between now, but it does happen. And I sit there and you look at everybody else is trying to do the same thing as me. You know, why me? Marianne Williams says, why not me?
Yes.
But I'm going to ask you for a tool when somebody like me gets in that, because I can be like, go. And then I hit a wall and I go, I can't run any faster. And it's being demanded for me to run faster. And I want to honor myself.
I have a great answer for you. You ready?
Yes.
Okay, so we're all going through recovery and discovery at the same time. So recovery is, and this is a Tim Storey original, thank you very much. Recovery is discovering or recovering from the past pain, like your father didn't understand your brilliance, okay? Unfortunate for him, maybe he got it later, I don't know, we'll talk more later. But at one point, other people did not understand your brilliance. Some people didn't understand Michelangelo and Picasso, okay? So we're recovering from our past, but we're also recovering from our present. Everyone that is watching right now is going through something right now. And if you say you're not, you're lying or you never leave your house. Because we're all going through something. If it's not physical, then it's in the mind, or it's in the family, or it's in the finances, or it's in your children or your grandchildren or a cousin. Everybody's going through recovery from past and present. Okay, watch, this is powerful. Let's be okay with that. We're undone. We're slightly undone. Mm-hmm. I like being undone. I'm okay being undone. And now I don't show it to everybody. So people have said this about me. They said, you could have your whole right arm blown off and you will come to somebody and still give them joy. Because listen, that's a casual relationship. If I'm casual with you, I'm going to be that guy. But that's still my authentic self.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 3 levels. There's the casual, there's the intimate, and then there's the invited guest area. This is very powerful. Don't bring everybody into your invited guest area.
Yes. Yes.
So like me and you are going to be friends. So you'll be in my invited guest area. So you might call me one day or I'll call you and you say, how do you really feel? I go, I'm irritated. I thought I was going to do the Oprah Winfrey show in May and they pushed me back to the end of June. I may tell you what I'm really feeling. So I think for the listener, be okay with being undone. You may not be what you want to be, but thank God you're not what you used to be.
Exactly. And then one other thing I want to point out that you do mention in your book about, only be around people that bring you to your utmost self. And you're saying that right there. So you're saying, there's an outer circle, there's an inner circle. And if you're going after something, be very, very careful on who you share that with.
Yes.
You found that.
So don't expose yourself to people who don't get you. You got to be around them sometimes at your job or your family or at Thanksgiving or even Christmas.
Yes.
But again, boundaries, high casual friends. Okay, you get my point?
Yep.
Don't even tell them you're having a bad hair day. Just keep it right here.
Right. Exactly.
Then there's the intimate, and then there's the inviting guest.
Right. Exactly. The 3 levels. I completely understand that. Let me ask you about intuition. What do you feel intuition is?
For us, I believe that we're made in the image of God.
Yes.
And that the more you allow God to guide your life and fill your life, your intuition cup fills. I think when somebody thinks they're intuitive, they pretty much suck, most of them. Their intuition is like this. They're like, look at this. They're barely, see, there's a difference between, you're going to love this, between snorkeling and scuba diving.
Okay.
They're like snorkelers in the area of intuition because I meet them all the time. They want to impress me. I'm an intuitive. I read people. You're snorkeling, miss or sir. So, but the more you get filled up with Jehovah, with God, Jehovah Elyon, the God above every God. Okay. Your intuitive power increases because you're connected to him. And I'm trying to tell you, that's what the Apostle Paul kept talking about all through his epistles, 13 books of the Bible he wrote, of these deeper revelations. When you get into the intuitive side and you start to get revelations, you cannot be stopped. It's almost unfair.
Okay, so here's my next question to that, because I'm a perfect example, and that's why I'm asking. So how do you know when it's intuition or it's a trigger? Okay. So
give me an example.
I'll give you a perfect example. Let's see, a little over a year ago, I was on the phone with my then boyfriend, and he was saying things that I immediately just said, okay, I've heard enough, it's over. And this was an intense relationship.
Yeah.
I felt like I was being suffocated. I felt like the house was burning down, like my alarm bells were going off, right? And I felt like I had felt a very strong intuition that this is not the person that I thought he was, okay? But then I also have abandonment issues, right? It has come all full circle now. And because I was doubting my intuition, because, I'm the person that always goes, what did I do wrong? Not pointing the finger. So that's where the first place I go. Now, a year later, I now know that my intuition was right, but at the same time, I don't know which one it is. Is it a trigger from childhood of going, get me out of here, I don't want to feel this pain again? Or is it like, you're really doing this?
Okay, what a great scenario you just painted. Can I help you with this?
Absolutely.
Okay, you're so bright in knowing it could be a trigger, because look what other people have done to you before, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now maybe you have a shorter fuse on that because you've been through it. And it's easy to go, really, buddy? I don't think so. I'm me now. I'm kind of popular. People love me. I got a great hairstyle. And I don't need this. Could have been a trigger. So, or is it your intuition that says, oh, that the real him's coming out? Ooh, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth is speaking. So I like the 24-hour rule. So let's pretend his name was Ben. Like, let's pretend, I don't know, maybe it was Ben Affleck. So let's pretend it was Ben, because Ben Affleck's single. So maybe it was, we'll just say his name is Ben. We're just saying this, hypothetical. I would say, Ben, okay, so listen. So this conversation is going into a place I didn't think it was going to go. So what I would like to do is let's just end it where it is. And I'd like to pick up on it tomorrow. Then you got time to really like balance it out to say, did I just get triggered by Ben? Or is that my intuition?
Yeah. And
you have that time to watch for all your emotions to come down, watch, and your spirit to rise up. Ooh, it's so powerful.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Look at me. Look at me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it's so powerful. Because people try to mess with Tim Storey all the time because I'm so positive and I'm doing well in life. So once in a while, someone will even come up to me in the airport and go, oh, Mr. Life Coach to the stars, blah, 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 blah. And I get a little triggered. I'm thinking, oh, you calling me little Timmy from Compton? Is that what's going on here?
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Really? You calling me poor? Really? You calling me a poor kid? Is that what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have 24 hours to deal with that guy. So what I got to do is I got to take a deep breath. And then I have to just walk in love. And I have to think, maybe they're going through something. Maybe they're coping with something.
Yes.
So Tim, just speak love.
Yes.
So I just speak love. No matter what, I speak love. And then maybe I'll go walking down the airport, and then my intuition tells me where they were really coming from.
Right. Exactly. Oh, I love that. Okay. So one more question, because I know your time is valuable and we've gone a little bit over, but you talk about in your book, you talk about all, different scenarios, you talk about work and this and that, but so far as parenting,
yes,
we're here to guard, we're here to govern, we're here to guide. Okay.
Yes. Good.
Is there anything that you would say to keep our kids away from at this point so they can reach their magical mentality? Is there
yes,
that's awesome.
So much.
Okay.
Most of the stuff.
Oh, okay. I'm glad.
Okay, so watch this. So in the book, The Miracle Mentality, I talk about miracle mentality in parenting. What a responsibility to be a parent, people. You're supposed to guide them. That's called direction. Guard them, protection. Govern them, administration. Mm-hmm. How are you going to do that from a messy place, from a place of madness? You better put some order to your disorder. This is so good. Mm-hmm. Wow. How do I do that? You renew your mind. You start putting the right things in your mind. You start to renew your mind. You start to think different. And as you think different, that person in you that's called to lead a child will rise up. Guide, guard, govern. So no, you're not letting them do everything just because the neighbor said it's okay or just because it's on Disney Plus. Mm-hmm. So you're not always the buddy, you're the parent.
Right. I think, yeah. I think too many people try to be parents. I mean, try to be friends as opposed to being, the not so likable person. So would you say cell phones would be one of those things?
I would say depending on the maturity of the child and the age of the child, but can I go there for a second on another thing? I would say this, that if you're going to be the person who disciplines, which you have to be as a parent, also be the person that brings some magical moments. Hey kids, I know we've been Zooming all day for school when that was going on, but guess what we're going to do today? We're going to get up and we're going to drive to blankety blank, wherever you guys live, and we're going to have a good time, and we're going to have ice cream. What happened to mom? What happened to dad? Yeah, create magic. Boom, boom, boom. Lights and magic.
Awesome. Okay. You've just filled my spirit, my day. I'm telling you, I believe everything I told you in the beginning, that everything happens for a reason. And I just really needed this dose of you because of the week that I was going through, and I was feeling mundane. And the one thing I do want to say that it was either an interview that I heard or in your book, but you said one of the best ways to get out of that too is also being in Mother Nature. Get out of concrete, let Mother Nature breathe. And I'm telling you, that's what feeds my soul, and finding things that feed your soul helps you get out of that as well. So any other last takeaways that you've got, Tim?
Here's my last takeaway. Thank you for being you. Thank you for not listening to certain people that did not get that you are a work of art created by God to manifest amazing things. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being willing to go to the places where God is taking you right now. So that's my last statements of the day.
Thank you so much. What an amazing interview. Thank you all for tuning in today. If you haven't, Tim, where can people find you? Are you still taking clients right now?
Timstorey.com is what we do, and we have a life coaching program. Buy the book is the main thing. It's like a
miracle
movement.
Mentality. I'm telling you, I have not been able to put it down. And I'm on chapter 7. I was like, I seriously, I can't put it down. I
take clients that I feel like you're like at the 5-yard line and you're ready to score.
Absolutely.
If you feel like I could tune you in at the high level, then contact us. So timstorey.com, or just direct message me. Hey, Tim, help me get my stuff to where it needs to be. And we'll dialogue.
And your handle on Instagram is just Tim Storey.
Tim Storey Official. And you'll put it in there. STOREY.
I will put all the information below.
Tim Storey Official.
Absolutely. Thank you again for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, it's Tina Marx TV. And of course, my podcast is Transparent with Tina. Thank you all for joining us today, and we'll see you next week.